Welcome to Radio Fixer's channel. Subscribe for upcoming videos. And this is part 3 of restoration of 1938 Montgomery Ward airline. This radio was damaged in shipping process, so I'm trying my best to preserve this and hopefully can bring it back to life. I highly suggest going back and watch other episodes to this restoration. Enjoy the video. One thing I want to show you, you see how bad soldering this is? It's absolutely awful. Watch here. You know, whoever worked on this, you can tell it was many years ago since they use these old wires. See the solder? You don't do that. So I'm going to take this wire out, take the other one out. So if you look at the schematic, years ago I was looking through schematics and I was so confused because the wires actually did not go where they were showing. So let's go to a schematic so I can show you how actually everything is connected together. So let's look at these two electrolytic capacitors. Each of them, as I mentioned, they're 5 microfarad. Here's the bottom of his schematic. Shows number 33. Of course, this is where 33 is. Both positives, it comes down here and hooked up to pin 2. Then here, the black wire from the capacitor, it hook up to the chassis or the ground. Also the brown wire right here from the second capacitor, the minus, it comes here and it hooked up. One side goes to the speaker coil, other side goes to the mid section of this power transformer, as we discussed this section. So this is pretty important. Majority of the radios, usually negatives are connected together, not positives. So be careful with this radio, alright? Hopefully this is going to help you. Those electrolytic capacitor, of course, is inside this can. And these 3 wires comes out of it, as you see right here from this hole. Of course, the black one is a short one, is being soldered to the chassis itself. The brown, it comes to this pin on tube 5Y3. But this pen, they really use, as I mentioned earlier, as a junction. You know, there's a bunch of wires are soldered here, but there is no pen here, as you see. So this is not connected to the tube. Most of the time, as I mentioned earlier, you know, when you look at the schematic, a schematic is different than actually where the wires are hooked up here. And in the beginning it's confusing until you get comfortable with it. So this brown wire, which was the negative, was one part of the negative side of those electrolytic capacitor, comes here to this junction. This is really where they solder a bunch of wire together. As I mentioned earlier, that it goes right here from a power transformer. One wire comes here as well. There are several wires here being, you know, soldered together. On pin 2, you see this is where key is. They call it key. So this is pin 1, pin 2. Those 2 5 microfarad positive connection is hooked up to pin 2 of tube 5Y3. So you see how they hook it up? This is the first time I'm saying that they put 2 positive sides together. You know, usually negatives are together, as I mentioned earlier. Just want to show you this is already hooked up, already soldered. So let's continue. Alright, what I'm doing, cleaning the chassis. It was very dirty. I mean, very dirty. I'm using liquid wax. And I'm going over the chassis using this. See, I already poured some here. And I'll clean it off. See, it start coming off. Just take your time, you know, just go over it. Then of course you get a paper towel and you go over it. After, of course, you wait a few minutes, right? This is just quickly to show you. Look how much dirt is bringing out. See how nice it's getting? So the reason I'm doing this, first I'm cleaning, of course, get rid of everything on the surface. Second, this wax gonna protect the metal. See how soft it become? So if the moisture get to it, it's not gonna rust. So I'm gonna go over, gonna do whatever I can get to wax the entire chassis, the top, the side. Of course later I'm gonna paint this black. I'm not gonna wax there, right? I'm gonna paint it. Just want to show you quickly what I'm doing. I set up the multimeter to sound. I'm going to try to find out which of this wire positive, because positive, always goes to the switch. Usually here in the United States, there's a two different sizes. See, this one is larger than the smaller one. A smaller size like this is always positive or hot. This one is they call it common, or some people they call it negative. It's a common, right? So I'm going to hook up the multimeter to the small one right here, then hook this up to here. There's no sound, so that tells me that is the neutral or negative. This one, you see, to remember what it is, like a marker is already colored, that I know this side need to go to the switch. Okay, let's also solder the power cord. As you see, I already put it right here, so I'm going to install it. Okay, that one is done. Okay, the other one finished as well. Alright, let's focus on this volume control and also switch to see what's going on with it. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, I believe, that I need to open this to pull it out. You see what I'm doing? I'm just lifting this up. Be very careful with it. You don't want to break them, you just want to make them come up straight. So when I open up a little bit, I use different tool to bend it. Let me open all the fours. Get your finger away from this, so if this comes out, it doesn't cut you. Use a tool like this. Try to straighten this thing up. Be very careful you not break it. Very gentle, bring it up like that. Like this, you see? It doesn't need to be all the way up, just enough so this part comes out. See, like that. I'm going to check this on the magnifying glass. The switch was not coming on and off. Oh, I see what's going on. You see this thing right here? It bended. It shouldn't be this open, just should be a little bit. So this comes like some type of washer around it. Not sure. Yeah, another one like this. Oh, they sealed this, you see? See right here? It's hard to get to. They put something here, then they punched here. I need to be able to get underneath, otherwise I cannot fix this. Let me think about this. What's the best way to handle this? Alright, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to use this. A spray inside here, I put it inside the cup. This always fix things. Let's see if this is going to fix this as well or not. Let's see. We never know until we try, right? I'm going to let it sit a little bit. Yeah, what I use this for, whenever I'm working in a car, something is rust out, is not opening up, this is what I use. I spray a little bit, and you can tell I bought this many years ago. And of course I don't use that much of it. And always work. Always it frees the rust part. Alright, this said at least an hour. Now we're going to test it to see if it's working or not. Remember, it was totally frozen and one of this thing was bended, so I already fixed that. See, right now it's fixed, right, that opening. I already turned on the multimeter. I put it in the sound. Let's see. No sound. That means there is no connection. Now because of use that chemical, Watch here. Now it's working. You see that? So let's test it now. So as I share with you, this is for it works so well. Even for the car, I spray, you know, nuts and screws that is all rust out. You have to wait for a while, you know, then it works like a magic, you know. It worked with this. I'm amazed. So this is working now. Of course, I need to get rid of all the rust. Maybe spray it so the rust doesn't come back. You know, this one has also rust too on the surface. That need to be taken care of. Here is fine. Nothing wrong with this side. Alright, so let me focus on this. Of course, I use this product, you know, put a very thin layer everywhere that was rust. After waiting 15 minutes or so, I rinsed them off. So before putting this together, I have to protect this. So I'm gonna somehow cover this area, spray inside here, paint inside, so the rust does not come back. Right now they're oxidized, so, or they call it dissolve, so I can paint them. Let me work on this. I'm going to try to do my best to create something like this, and this is pretty old. Alright, as you see, I'm going very gentle. Then you left it out like that. So that piece is out the center. Came out pretty nice. Now I need to see if it fit inside the volume control. So if your volume control, this part, if was broken, you have an option to duplicate it as I showed you. This one, it match exactly, as you see, exactly like this. The other one I just cut, as you can tell right here, for that opening right there. So you can also do that as well, because you want the switch portion be open. The good thing about this is, you know, it fit perfect inside, so you don't need to glue it at all. So you have that option as well. You can use this product and it's not going to hurt this plastic at all. So you can use that to lubricate. So you have all these choices. Alright, let's see if on and off switch is coming on or not. I set this in the sound. Okay, so already hooked it up here. Let's turn it on. As you saw, it's coming on. One more time. On and off. So this is fixed. Now I'm going to check to see how the volume control is working. As you see, the voltmeter is showing some reading. When I turn on the volume control, that's a good sign. Here in the mid section, there is no reading at all. Yeah, in the end section also it shows some type of reading on voltmeter. And that is crazy. There's something wrong with this volume control. I'm going to take it apart and check it to see what's wrong with it. Gee, I really didn't want to reopen this thing again after worked on it for a long time. But let me open it up. I'll get back with you. And notice that, you know, the problem is coming from the volume control. So I had to take the volume control apart again, and it was pretty difficult to take it apart. You see, even inside is all rust out. Remember, I fixed outside, I painted, but inside I still had tons of rust. So I'm gonna do my best to see if I can repair this or not, you know. Of course, these are all the parts you see is for the volume control. The issue is here. You have to take these rings out, which was right here, to be able to take everything else off as well. So we want to focus on this. As you see how they designed it, there's about 3 parts to this. Of course, this is, you know, is like some type of PC board or so. Underneath some type of fiber, then this is the plate. So first I'm going to clean this to see again if it can be fixed or not. These are pretty difficult to repair, but we will find out. At least it came apart. It takes a long time to take this apart. The issue is this. It was pretty hard to take this out. Alright, this is what I found out. This is the drawing. It shows that, you know, the volume control, or they call it variable resistor. This is how it looks like. The signal comes in from this side. It goes through some type of material. I call it graphite. It's gray, as you see. Then here, of course, goes to ground. The center tab, where there is a wiper here. So this is what you control the sound right here, the wiper. I actually looked this under magnifying glass, and this is what I saw. I'm going to try to show you here in the picture. When the wiper was this side, I had some good reading. When the wiper was here in the center, I had no reading. Wiper from here to the end, I had a reading. So when I looked at it under magnifying glass, I noticed was some material here was missing on mine. Unfortunately, I have to find another volume control. I really want to stay with this original one. So I'm going to go antique radio form, put some ad there, and see if I can find anybody has a volume control like this. I really don't want to modify the chassis unless I have to. As you see here in this picture, I have lots of volume control, but unfortunately they are not fitting in this radio. Let's see what we can do. I went in antique radio form and I put a detailed information, you know, what I'm looking for. 1 meg volume control that I was looking for with the switch, and the detailed information as well as detailed pictures as you see here. Even shows, you know, the thickness of this volume control. And somebody contacted me, sent me a message that they say they have this volume control and it's a brand new, they can sell it to me. So I sent them the money. I think include the shipping, I paid close to $15 or so. Of course, when I received it, let me show you what I received. This is not what actually I ordered. You know, of course, I didn't want to send it back because it's going to cost more shipping to send back. So it was like a big loss. So what I did, I went to the antique electronics supply. Through the years, I bought parts from them. They're pretty good. You know, they ship it pretty quick. So this is what I purchased right here. Is a volume control 1 meg with on and off switch. And look at the price, $2.95. I bought several of them from them. And compared to the other one, that was over $9 just for the volume control, not include shipping. Here the shipping was very reasonable. Just want to show you the difference, you know. As you see, it's right here, 1 meg. So I'm going to install this. So I had to modify, you know, the last thing I want to do any modification. So I had to put a hole here, you know, make sure these are not sharp, but these corners, you know, shave it and grind it, make sure it's not sharp to cut the wires to be able to fit this new version. Again, I wish I could find the original, but as you see, what I received was totally different what he told me that he has in stock. Sometimes that's what happened, you know. So I modified that. I'm going to install this right here. Yeah, see, it fit here perfect. So I can run the wires over there. The reason I had to do the modification because of these two. If this two post was in the bottom, I did not need to modify it. That's why I had to modify the chassis so this fits, so that I can bring the wires here and solder it to it. Believe me, I tried so many different ways, and that was the only way it was possible. See, when this goes in like that, see, now I can bring the wires, I can solder it, and it's not going to hit the chassis at all. So let me install this. Alright, the pilot lamp, believe it or not, I tested it, still is working, this thing. All the tubes in this radio was in good condition. It just was a little wobbling like that. I put some Gorilla Glue all around it. See, it's moving a little bit. I'm going to let it set to dry. I'm going to use this since it's working. You can tell this is very old, very old. After this dry, I'm going to clean the bottom portion to see what actually this thing is saying. How many volts it is. So rusty right now, I cannot read it. That's amazing that after all these years still this is working. All the tubes, they were fine. As you remember, all this connection to the top of the tubes, they were all rust out. See, they're all clean now. All of them, I spent some time to clean them. You can use brush like that. Also, rubbing alcohol. With a Q-tip, I went around and cleaned all this. There's no more rust in it at all. There's 3 of them here. They're all cleaned. Also, what I did, I got this brush and cleaned all the tube pens. So you go like this, and you clean all the tube pens. Use again this type of brush to clean all of them. Before putting any tubes back, all those needs to be cleaned. Otherwise, you're not going to have a good connection. This where the pilot bulb was very rusty. And now you see all the rust comes out. I cleaned it pretty well. Don't want those rust come back and destroy the radio. So everything's cleaned. Let me go get the tubes and put it in and then set this up. Alright, since this tube started having rust, I'm going to try to take care of those rusts. Because this tube still is in excellent condition. So I want to save it. And that's what the product I'm going to use, of course. So I'm going to get rid of the rust. Then I'm going to paint this area. You have to cover it after you remove the rust. Rinse it with water in about 15 minutes or so. Alright, the tube is totally dried. All the rust are gone. Let's use Sharpie to cover those rust area. Again, just to protect it so the rust doesn't come back. Alright, everywhere is covered. It's looking good. So let me install it now. Each tube, they have something called pen. It says right here. See that? You want to line that up. See right here. That's where it goes. Okay. Put this in top. Alright, it's looking good. And what next we want to do, we want to focus to fix this area. As you remember how bad this was when I took it out. It was all corroded, rust out, and in the tip of it, it had a rubber like this. So I removed this. I create something like this. These are 3-piece plastic that I created. I will tell you in a few seconds how I did that. The dial string, it goes right here. So it should be a channel like this, so it doesn't slip out. As you see, I polished everything. The rust is gone. The way I create this, let me show you what I did to create this, because you have to create something that has a channel like here. Like you see here as a channel. If it doesn't have a channel, the dial string, when you change the station, the dial string going to slip out if there is no channel like this. What I did, I looked around the house. I found a couple of pens like this. That wasn't working. So I used this. As you see, some of them is gone. This goes over the shaft like that, right? Usually a pen has this top right here, like that. See, that's what I use. You can heat this to fit inside. So it's a 3-piece plastic. One is a larger size than this plastic that I cut a small piece, I fit it in first. Then use this, that is the med section. Then the tip like this, I cut it and install it inside like that. As you see, this tip I already cut it off. That's what it was. Then of course when you heat the plastic, it's staying pretty strong. You cannot even take it out anymore. Hopefully this makes sense. So what I'm doing now, see, I'm coloring it so it doesn't be that obvious. Okay, when it dry. See, I already did here. So it'd be more like original. Yeah, I was thinking about this. I look around the house, I said, what can I use to create something like this? See, by the time I highlight this thing, it's going to look much better. See that? So this should work. And the way you feed this, it doesn't go this way. You have to feed it from other side. Alright, so let's put this thing back here. Like this. I'm going to lubricate that shaft with this product to make sure that it doesn't rust anymore. I use this in my fishing equipment, and it worked pretty well. Also a car. I don't want to lubricant get where dialer string goes, because then it's going to be a slippery, okay? Then I do have the original U-shaped washer, which is going to hold this so it doesn't go back and forth like that, and install right here. Did you hear that? That's it, locked it down. So we are safe. Alright, see, it's not coming out anymore. It doesn't go in and out, it turn. So let's put the dialer string here. It's getting there, just a step at a time, one thing at a time. Alright, as you see, this string is already in. It was a little tough to figure it out since it was broken when I received the radio. So here it went 3 times over this. Alright, then is a loop right here. You hooked up to the new spring I put here. The other side of the spring, it brings the thread all the way back here. So when you turn the knob, if you look at this back here as well, you turn the knob, you see that's alright. So it is working as you see. Alright, this is done. And since this shaft is too long, I need to cut it back. So what I did, I measured this from the chassis to here. Then I marked it here. So now I know exactly where I need to cut. So it'll be the same level of this one. Otherwise it's too long, it's not going to fit into the cabinet. That's the tool I'm going to use. I bought this years ago and it worked pretty well. Just take your time. It's aluminum, so it will be cut quickly. Alright, it cut off. Then later on I can cut it this way in the angle also. Let's continue with this project. I'll be honest with you, it takes so much time to make these videos, editing, uploading, and make sure there's enough information that it actually makes sense, if you want to follow. At this time, I want to take the opportunity and thank my subscribers with their uplifting comments. You always encourage me to upload more videos, since this is just a hobby of mine. Again, I appreciate you, enjoy all these videos, and you all have an awesome day. Take care. If you're interested to see more videos like this, feel free to subscribe to my channel, and you will be notified when new video being uploaded. You have a great day.